Well, good morning. Jim Sunderwirth here from the Swing. So nice to see you today. It's a beautiful, beautiful time to get together, and we're in a very important passage of Scripture where we're talking about the fact that God is using the children of Israel. He's going to use them and bring them to their place where they can find rest and peace and have their own land, and just be what God has always wanted them to be, an example, ambassadors to the world as what God can do through someone who would dare trust them and rest in them. And we talked yesterday about, of course, we've talked about the fact that all through Numbers, they did complain. They did about many different things. They complained about water. They complained about food. They complained about Moses' leadership. They complained about who Moses married. Even Miriam, we just went through yesterday about Miriam and how that she was even, leprosy came upon her because of her trying to touch God's anointed, you know.
Yes.
But anyway, so we went through that, and Moses prayed for her, and she was humbled, and she was healed, and that was a wonderful thing. Now we're going into chapter 13, and in chapter 13, all of a sudden things change, and now that you have to realize they've come out. They've come up out of Egypt, and they've been in Sinai desert area there, 3 months in one area where God begins to work with them and expose to them who He was and what He demanded from them. And then now they're about 15 months in that area. Now they come up to a place called Kadesh Barnea, and this place is just on the very outskirts of Canaan land, or the land that God promised them. Can you imagine? God has promised them. Talk to him. I shared with you the other day about 85 times He talked to him about, I'm going to give you this land. I'm going to give you this land. And now here, over 20 times it talked about the fact that it was the land of milk and honey. The land of milk and honey. In fact, it was prosperous, and it was fruitful, and it was just going to be a place for them that God was preparing just for them. Now, God tells us, He says, if you'll just trust in me, He said, I have got a life for you that's abundant. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly. And He said, come unto me, all you that labor and heavy laden, I'll give you rest. So He talks about the fact, I want to give you rest. I want to give you abundance. I want to be your provider. I want you to rest in me and know that, and the world's going to see that there's a great God that takes care of His children. Well, here they come up to Kadesh Barnea, and so here's what happens. God speaks to Moses and says, send men to spy out the land of Canaan. This is chapter 13, which I have given. Now, listen to this. Send men to spy out the land which I am giving to the children of Israel. My children, I'm giving this. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a leader among them. So Moses sent forth in the wilderness of Paran, and then they started Reuben and the tribe of Judah and Issachar and Ephraim and Benjamin. And I'm not going to go through all the list of that, but they get 12 people, and then out of that also they send Joshua and Caleb. Now Joshua and Caleb go in and with the other spies, and they're there about 40 days. When they come home, they came to the valley of Eshcol. Now the valley of Eshcol, they cut down a branch. Now when they're coming out of this place, they cut down just one branch of grapes. And this one, the grapes were this big around. They weren't small grapes. They were big grapes. And in fact, the branch was so big that they had to put it on a pole and carry it on the shoulder between two men. That's how beautiful it was, and how lush it was, and how tasteful and how large the fruit of this land was. And they brought figs also, and they brought pomegranates, but the main thing was this grapes that they had to put on a pole between two shoulders. God says, this land is your land. I am going to give this to you. And so they come back, and then it says, and they had returned from spying for 40 days, and they showed the congregation the fruit of the land. And they told them, we went to the land there was, and truly it flows. This is verse 27 of chapter 13. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. I'm telling you, that would be so exciting. And God told them about it. And now they're getting to go into it. And the next word you hear in verse 28 is nevertheless.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't like that word. Oh, but nevertheless, well, nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified, very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak was there. The Anak was giants. They were large, large people. Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, and dwell in the mountains. The Canaanites are by the sea, by the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb, oh my, then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take the possession, for we are well able to overcome it." Now here's Joshua and Caleb. There's the 12 spies, and here 10 of them say, "Look, yeah, it's a beautiful land. Oh man, the fruit is fabulous. The cities are large. It's a blessed, beautiful place." But you see, faith, you just can't go nevertheless. You can't but you can't. Faith says, Caleb and Joshua says, look, they stood up alone. You know, sometimes we're going to have to stand alone. And I just saw my time. Here I am getting preachy like crazy. I'll finish this. I'll finish this tomorrow, okay? I'm getting all into this, man. Let me tell you. We'll tell you what happens tomorrow. Bye-bye.